You know what time it is? It's Behind the Boot with Super Journal. You're not going to regret this one.
In the township where I grew up in Vindolands, soccer was a thing. The passion of growing in the space where soccer was a thing, made it possible for me to be where I am today.
Bobby Motaung, Sir Bobby, to many of you, joins me now on Behind the Boot with Super Journal for a chilled conversation. Sir Bobby, Barra must address you as the chairman of the Bobby Motaung Foundation.
Of course.
And thanks to the foundation for giving you. It's hard to get hold of you. Outside, I just want
to say hi to you. Congratulations with the podcast.
Thank you so much, sir.
And welcome back from the heat
in America. Yeah, no, it was lovely.
It was lovely.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
Welcome to our winter side.
Yeah, no. But you're gonna warm us up with this conversation. I've been looking forward to this one, even as I was still in the US for the Club World Cup, thinking about our conversation, the life and times of Bobby Motaung. My first question, though, to you is, Sir Bobby, how would you describe your childhood?
Well, I was born uniquely because this is not 55 years ago, with unique names, within a unique family, and community and society that I grew up in.
Yeah.
During the apartheid times. So can you imagine the mixture?
I can imagine.
Yeah, I've been through generational eras, in terms of life. It's been unique. I'm blessed to be alive even today, under the parenthood that I grew up under. My father, my mother, still alive, and it's been a unique one, tough one, but unique one. When you're a special baby, a Cancerian, born on the 10th of July, that's something special.
Are you named after Sir Bobby?
Yes, my father played in America, and they were sharing a room with Sir Bobby. Actually, the name came from America.
Yes.
And, in the old days when children were born, even now, I don't know traditionally how families work, but you get names from your father's side and your mother's side, and you given names. So my father.
Yeah, I did that with my children as well.
Bobby came from my father's side when he was in America, from Sir Bobby Charlton, who was playing with my father then, with the chairman then. I call him chairman now, but he's my father. But obviously, my mother's side, I was given another name, Nehemiah, which is a very spiritual name.
Biblical name.
And I have
close to mine, Linna. I must tell you mine.
Oh, that's why you
the J.
Okay.
But no, I can't reveal it here.
You must.
But it's a biblical name as well.
Yeah. So that was my mother's uncle's name, Nehemiah. But obviously, growing up, living within, the under these names, you have to connect with the names. They've got to align with you. So I think I aligned very well with the names.
When did you realize, I suppose, growing up, the type of environment that you were growing up under? Because you mentioned unique times, not only from a chairman's point of view, given his life and times as well, but from a South African standpoint as well. When you came into this world, this country is very different to what it is now.
Of course, it was difficult at the time. I mean, 1976, the riots and all that. We actually had to. We moved to the northwest. My uncle had a place in Bapong. But since I was young, I think I was just being somebody who's open-minded, who was seeing things in a positive way. I'm a positive person. And it's been exciting times. I mean, I'm not the type of guy who gets bored. I love life. I love things, and I love good things, and I'm very positive in life. So those times and tough times, we and I managed to survive. Managed to come out strong and positive. I mean, under the guidance of the parents and like I said, the community that we lived in, there was too much support and love. Yeah.
When did you then get into the football space? did you feel the pressure to follow in your dad's footsteps, or how was it cultivated that you ended up where you are today?
Fortunately, when I was born, my grandfather also, my mother's father also had a football club in Midlands and Zabras. And at the same time, Kaizer Chiefs was formed. I remember 1969, it was Kaizer 11, then Kaizer Chiefs 1970 when I was born. That was Kaizer Chiefs' birth. And I grew up in an environment of football. My mother's side, the grandfather had a football club. And in the township where I grew up in Midlands, soccer was a thing. I mean, I played karate, I played soccer, I played tennis, I was an athlete. The only thing I didn't play was boxing. You can see my face. I wanted to be... I was a smart boy, so I didn't like boxing at all. Although when you trained, you used to train boxing as well. Because if you do karate, also, because life at the time in the townships, we had to survive. You had to be an athlete or soccer player or something, because the community there was all about sports. But then...
Well, what do you mean by survival? Because when you say survival in that era, I'm thinking dodging rubber bullets. What do you mean by survival?
Being a boy, you had to be tough. You had to be toughen up. There was no mama's baby. Even in the schools then in the township, it was not like bullies, but you had to be a man. You had to be a boy. You had to be strong. And so we were trained, even in the streets where we grew up. Mahrudman na dlala madaisi and the boxes and bar shapisa kadi cartoon, the cartoon.
Yeah,
cartoon. There are box they're so you have to be toughened up. You have to be toughened up. There was no we had to be a man in the street. So life changed, obviously, when you grow up. Things are modern now. Things have changed from the past. So, but we had to play sports. We had to play karate. We had to be involved in the game. I mean, after school, what do? You play soccer. You play something. You do something in the streets. So we used to play in the streets, not only in the fields. There were no fields like FNB Stadium now and all that. Even in the streets in the township, we used to play there. So that's the upbringing that I grew up with. But obviously, went to schools. Moved to suburbs, to schools like Mary's Brothers and all that. Things were different when I moved there. But I started first in Midlands.
Yeah.
And I moved to Diepkloof, Holy Cross. Then I moved to town.
Yeah.
To Mary's Brothers. Now it's Sacred Heart College.
And then you you obviously, as I was saying, you grow up under this legacy of your dad. Is he the one then who introduces you to be? Because I would imagine at the time, given your age, given that he's still a player, do you follow him around? The passion, or it's just a thing that in the neighborhood structure, in the township, you grow up either having to choose one of the popular sports among the black community?
I think it's just the bringing. The influence was there, obviously, because of the club. Influence of getting, being around the big brand Kaizer Chiefs. But obviously, the area where I grew up in, like I say, it was football phonetics. It was all about football. So the passion of growing in the space where soccer was the thing, made it possible for me to be where I am today. The influence of the chairman obviously was there because, like I say, he's an icon. He's an icon. His football is about him. At the end of the day, if you look at the history where he comes from, he started playing at 16 for Orlando Pirates, and those years, it was different to now. But the history just.
So were you an Orlando Pirates fan?
No. One thing I know is that once he's once a Pirate, but always a Chiefs. So I'm a Chiefs because I was born in the era of Chiefs.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that the influence was there, obviously, of getting involved in football and playing. And they are bringing the community, the friends, school, everywhere. Soccer was the thing. And that's where the influence started.
You say you followed him around, obviously.
I followed him around. I followed, like I say, I had two lives. At my grandfather's house, there was a football club. My father also, at the same time, Kaizer Chiefs. So, yeah, there was a lot of influence in terms of being involved in the game.
And the other thing about growing up in a family like that is I would imagine you also would have had a slight struggle in becoming your own person in terms of not following the, I mean, as the person who leads the family, the direction that he's taken, gone to America, starting a new club, how do you then sort of try to break away from that? And some might argue that because you ended up being football manager at Kaizer Chiefs, or wherever you started your journey with Kaizer Chiefs, you didn't quite break away because you ended up staying within the family, to borrow your own words, family business.
Like I said, my life was unique. I grew up playing soccer. I was not a star. I was a normal player. I was just normal. I was not a top striker.
Which position?
I was a winger and sometimes play as a striker.
Yeah.
But my passion growing up, I had challenges of businesses. We had businesses at home, which sometimes you get involved with, especially on my mother's side. My grandparents had businesses. My uncle had businesses. So weekends, you end up working, going to work there and there. And I used to work at the gates as well of Kaizer Chiefs, with the games where Kaizer Chiefs was playing. I used to work after school.
Well, what do you mean by working?
Working at the gates.
Yeah.
Selling tickets.
Selling tickets.
Morning,
yeah.
But that was an experience that I didn't know that I was growing into a particular space. I just had passion of going to work and earning money, earning, your school fees or whatever. Parents would maintain me, but I always wanted to do something for myself. I always earned my strides. So my passion was always to work. I used to go to my uncle's businesses. He had nightclubs, shops, and all that. So I used to run those businesses at an early age. I started my own business actually when I was about 18, whilst working and studying. I used to work. I used to have my own smaller businesses, selling stuff at school, and my passion has always been in admin and business. I played soccer. I played at the Reserve of Chiefs in the Elka Stadium under Bobby Motaung, the late Tiki Koza, Pro, the late Dr. Kumalo's father. We played together with Doctor there, but he was a senior to me then at the time. And, I ended up having my own. We had a football club also in Brats in Bapong. In Bapong, we had a business there, but we also had football teams there. So I ended up coaching there. I ended up coaching during school holidays. We would go there, play tournaments, and you won't believe I'd select the best players in Midlands or Soweto and take them to Brats and compete against teams from the Northwest and all that. So the history of that
scouting element as well.
It was there from the beginning. From young, I had talent for talent, and passion of football has always been in me. Growing up in the environment, growing up in the area where football was a thing, and at schools during the week we had school soccer, school sports. I mean, Max Maponyane. I went to the same school where Max Maponyane was. Brima Kopela, all these guys, KK. If you know KK, so no, Soweto, it was about football. So I think football has been in my blood. That's why I said I grew up uniquely, mixed with business and football. So, but then there came a time where I got injured at a young age, about 17.
That's what they always say.
No, I've got
those who don't make it to the elite level, at the early age.
I was supposed to go for an op, but I decided no. Instead of going for an op, I'd rather quit and just do admin. Look at how talent can be nurtured, but also focus on business and school and business. So that's how I ended up, or I'm ending up where I am with scouting and analyzing and being an admin. But admin also was more, I got involved in admin because of working. After school, I used to go to the office, do albums, the big albums, the history of the club, membership cards, work with my uncle Cecil there, do membership cards. When we had offices in town then, so then after that, we started get a ride from the old man coming home. But I always involved myself into the industry, into the business. Working at the gates was one of the exercises of learning what is happening. But it was not a force majeure to go and do it. It was just me initiating, to waking up in the morning, having the passion of going to understand what's going on in the gating, security, gate revenues and the systems, how the systems work. But I was not forced to do that. It was just my initiatives to go and work and earn some money from the gates. When people get paid 25 rands, I'd also get my paycheck, 25 rands at the gates.
Yeah.
But it was unique because I would understand now the industry better and working with people, understanding the industry. And it was not like I said, I was not forced to do it, but it was the passion of just going out there and understanding. And like I said, I grew up in an era where people were way together in the township. Before the struggle together with communities, we were together, we were united as a society.
So you understand, it makes me think now that you understand that whole space of, gate takings and whatever much better given what you've done. Obviously, the times are different now. But do you see regression? I mean, obviously, at the time, the stadiums were a lot smaller, more compact. People wanted to be inside the heart of the action, but we are at a time where now we are fighting, and tickets prices, if you look at them, haven't gone up that much. How do you compare now, looking back from what you know and how you started out?
Look, at the time, also remember there was no sponsorships for clubs. There was the league was professional, but not at this level now. Times have changed. I mean, even the change of the system of ticketing and the distribution of tickets, there were challenges. Because remember when there was the Ellis Park disaster, there were regulations that were implemented where games had to be moved, big games, how to play, where to play big games. And remember in the apartheid time, we had limited space. But then after apartheid, obviously, big stadiums were open for us, going to play in the white areas. And so there was a difference there. When we played at Rand Stadium, Ellis Park, and all those places, things were different from the apartheid time. So I think the experience of the transition of the ticketing system, I was part of that system as well, and what made it happen possible, because the growth of the game, the standards of the game had changed from the era of the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. Things were just improving. Even now, things are different completely from the past.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. If you compare it now, you do think that it's like chalk and cheese in terms of how we can even get better.
Yeah, it's chalk and cheese. But if you check the sacrifices that the Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates have made, the clubs then when the ticketing issue, the pricing issue, does sacrifice in terms of how to charge people because of the background of our communities, where people, the earnings and the economy. And the ticketing price, in fact, even now, it's still cheap.
Yes, that was my point, Bob Steak.
But it's a sacrifice that clubs have made. And obviously, with the change of the PSL, the NSL, the new league, through Dr. Kaizer, Dr. Motaung, you and how they did it, the financial model to assist other smaller clubs. When Chiefs plays out of Joburg, we pull a lot of crowds.
Yes.
And before we used to share gates with the teams there, but then to empower other clubs who don't have sponsorships, they made a call to say, let the home teams keep the revenue, and the away team just visits, plays the games, and comes back. But then they had to increase the sponsorship of the league as well. So, but there were sacrifices on the part of big clubs going to visit and make more money, or get a share in the gates, but they were empowering other clubs to say, let's grow the other brands, other clubs to sustain the league. So I think the ticketing issue has always been a thorny issue, because when we play as Kaizer Chiefs outside, clubs increase their prices. They make more money because of the crowds that come in. But as Kaizer Chiefs and I know Orlando Pirates do the same. We don't. Gates are there for administration, for other. We care about our people. It's more about the economy and allowing people to come to the games and that. So it is a subject that needs to be debated about pricing, but it's more about the economy, affordability. Because if you check how the struggle is, that the challenges are in the economy now. If you increase the prices to a level where you want to take it to, then it means we'll have people not coming to the games.
Yeah, and not every game is going to be a Soweto derby.
No, not every game is going to be a Soweto derby, especially when you play in Joburg. Playing outside Joburg, yes, people from Joburg want to travel out, want to give visa and that. The people give visa, but how does more F&B, then it's not a full house, But if you go and play it outside in Durban or somewhere, then it's a full house. So, but we're in an entertainment space, so we need people to come to the games. So that's why sponsorship is very critical in the game of football.
Yeah, I was going to share my experience of covering the Nedbank Cup recently now, Chiefs, Pirates, Moses Mabhida. Especially, like, I went out after Chiefs won that. When it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Chiefs national team, man.
Yeah, no, the brand is huge. That's why the respect for it. It's a big one. I don't know. Even if you ask the chairman now how he got it right, it's something very deep in terms
Yeah.
of the spirituality around it, how it was formed and how it was supported from day one. I mean, there were no TVs at the time when they started this brand, but it's loved nationally, internationally. It's a big brand. It's a huge brand. People, it's about the people. It's about the love that people have for it. And I think the slogan of love and peace also played a big role.
Makes sense.
And the spirit of the chairman himself. The man has got a great heart. He's spirited. He's something else. You asked me about his influence in me and everything, but I think he's got a gift of something else.
He's got a warm touch too. I've had encounters with him a few times. It's like Hakwati. Maybe when I as his son, you've had a different experience.
One Kwatela, one Shika, unshappy, but one Kwatela.
Yeah. Of course, as a father should, yeah.
But I think it's something special that when somebody finds a journey and the humility he has, and then the respect he has for people, and the love he has for this club and the game. The game itself, I mean, it's like he was born for it. Certain things you're born with it and born for it. And the way he's so humble about it is that he's living the life of, it's his football. Football is his life. And the love of people as well, which is why some of us, had to have that spirit as well within ourselves, being born with love and with care. And with respect and humility. I think, he's spread that to the family, spread that to his kids as well, and then to the club. I mean, this club is huge. It's huge. It's something else. Even if we sit when we play, our job every day is about the people. We sit down and we knuckle down about making sure that our people get joy with this brand.
It's interesting when you mention people. I'll go back to our earlier conversation when you spoke about the Ellis Park disaster. For you personally, especially, I mean, by then, you had cut your teeth in the industry. How was that experience for you? I imagine, I watched it on television, but I imagine being there, being part of the at least, Chiefs or the two clubs that were involved, and then the ramifications of that afterwards.
There were two things there. Before the game, there was another vibe around. I mean, we were buzzing. I mean, both teams were on a high at the time. The excitement, the energy was very positive, and there was a lot of excitement.
And it was very rare that they would play on a weeknight.
No, we would, but remember that the regulation came after.
Yeah,
to say that
you shouldn't play.
That's why I'm saying the energy before that game was such that there was a hype. I mean, if you saw what happened in Durban, it's almost a similar feeling before the game that we had, that the excitement, the vibe, the looking forward to the game, the derby. And when the disaster happened, that was disastrous for all of us emotionally and everything. It was painful.
I can imagine, yeah.
It was painful. It took time for us to actually recover from that pain. We're still praying that, it was God's time maybe that we had to change the regulations and the rules and the way we do things, I think, because we had the Ogni disaster first, then we had the Ellis Park disaster, but both brands, then that showed also the magnitude of the Pirates and Chiefs brand, that what responsibility we've got. And the regulations changed then to say stadium security, regulations of security, ticketing, not to sell tickets at the venue, playing a big derby on a Wednesday, big games on a Wednesday, it's a no-no because of the pressure. People work, they knock off at 5, the game starts at 7, there's pressure. Some have to go home first and come, some leaving their work, traffic, at the time, congestion. That creates a bit of pressure at the gates, and that's what caused actually the problem. That's why I'm saying there were two feelings. The first feeling was more of the excitement before the game, the energy, the spirit was positive, everything was nice, everything was good. But negligence became at the game where the people were putting pressure because of that excitement. But then when that disaster happened, now there's another change of mood now where it was painful. It was painful. We were in the action. We were there. It was tough, and but we never gave up in terms of living the spirit of those people who actually suffered, because the game had to grow. The game had to change to the positive. The standard of the game had to change. Like I said, the regulations, the rules of the league, the manuals came in. Now the league looked at things differently from a professional level, integrating systems that are modern, which are because that forced us to change things. There was a force, like what happened in 1976. It changed the landscape of South Africa. So certain things happen for a reason. And that's God's time. When God decides, certain things must be moving, they'll move. Look where we are today. Our football is at another level now.
How did that enhance or change your personal experience as a football administrator?
It's more the respect of the industry, of the job that we do, the responsibility that we carry, and also the quality that we have to give to the people. Because if people love this thing, they love the game and love the industry, we have to serve with integrity, and that changed the professional mentality that we have to put into this thing, into the game. And that's why even our technology is involved. All the things, modern things that are happening in England, in Europe, we're at par with those. So that perception, that change made it, gave us another view of the industry.
Speaking of this industry as well, I mean, obviously people might have different opinions about your relationship, obviously, with the fans, but the feeling that most of us get is that umutwabatu,
of course,
umutwabatu, no matter what the club is going through or whatever the case may be. And my question, I'm building up to this question, that do you feel you get the recognition that you deserve? Do you, Banaba no Bare, are you getting your flowers?
I think for me, it's not the flowers per se. It's about the responsibility and the care. Like I said, the passion that you've got for the business. Some things you get the flowers when the flowers that I get is when I see people happy, when I see the results happening. Those are the flowers.
How about Telagadi Salati?
Well, that's part of the job. That's part of the business. That's why I'm in this job, because somebody must take responsibility. There must be a shoulder to cry on, So I think I'm that shoulder. People cry.
That's a lot of shoulders.
Well, it's
millions of shoulders.
It's a responsibility. That's why I say we differ in terms of accountability and responsibility. There's accountability and there's also responsibility that we carry. And with a big brand like we have, you can't shy away. And people only go to those that, if they cry and complain about you and fight and come to you, it means there's something special about Bobby. And Bobby must listen and carry the message across to those that are not having the pressure. So I think it's not an easy thing. It's not a nice thing, but it's what we live for. So the flowers that I get is the one when I see them happy, like what happened in Durban. What we saw in Durban, those are the flowers. That's a joy. I stood there and I said, "This is what I want to see." That's a joy for me. That's the joy. But in terms of experiences and the job that I do, I think it goes with the package.
Yeah.
You have to have the passion. You have to live by the sword.
Yeah.
If you're given a task, would you feel that those one it's I want to find you a in life.
Fair enough.
It's something that is given. About to our wickets, you must have it within you.
Yeah, you can't be fake. You can't fake it.
Fake it. Yeah. No. You must have it within you. You must love this thing. We're right.
Yeah.
It's only the players. Sometimes I tell players, all football players, we're right. We're right. It's our right alone. Yeah, we're selfish. We're right. It's not a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where does that does it stem also from the family culture, from especially Chincha's perspective and
both
influence?
Families, my mother's family side and my father's side. That's, like I said to you, I come from a background where my father comes from Pefeni, Orlando West, but also Town Gofel. But my mother comes from Midlands. Both sides, they were football clubs, they were family. We were embracing families. Both families have this thing for people, love for people, and we care about people. And how go to little house in that? What everybody? Mets on top pay everybody, accommodate everybody. How would the same? And the West was both sides. ne go came poor, netla house.
Yeah.
So when we used to cook, my granny used to cook and used to give. Same thing go high. Same at how generation.
So back in the day, that generation neja papa.
And what you want that? Yeah, no.
Haona ntho tse tsa-
Go high. Utso saja. That's all for you.
Yeah.
What
was a typical pre-match meal?
No go jwa kana no go jwa le kole di chips borotho go sena diet like
The day before a game, oja di chips.
Hours before the game.
Oja papa cabbage.
Yeah, that before game. Before game. So, but the fitness level, I mean, the guys were training without technology. You know, the guys were fit. I mean, football was their life.
It feels like they were a different breed.
Yeah,
though.
they were a different breed completely because even like I said, there was no money then. Like what is happening now. There's money, but hey, the quality, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, soft.
Yeah.
Then there was no money, but the passion of the game, talent, and the hunger to survive. So I think that if the money that we're having now and that money for generation Appeal would conquer the world in the World Cup, this Club World Cup would have, conquered.
Yeah. But how can you change that? I mean, there's not much you can do about
Times
it.
have moved on. Times have changed. Generations have changed. Yeah. Technology,
Yeah.
Why technology? Technology. What about Messi? How is Messi is not normal.
Yeah.
But naturally, you would not find a human being like him.
Different specimen.
Yeah. So I think generations and times have changed, and we have to live by the changes. We have to move with the times. You can't look back and say in the past. We have to have that history in mind. We have to teach the guys the history. We have to show them. But the character, the personalities are different now, completely.
It must be mind-blowing for you to have witnessed this generational change, though. Because at the age of 55, and given that you already, when you were a lot younger as a teenager, you were already, sort of
involved.
Yeah. And then in that time, you've seen players come and go, different talents come and go.
Yeah.
It must be, it's like it messes up with your mind to see all the changes.
Yeah, look, the good thing is when you're involved, it doesn't mess up your mind. When you're involved and you know what you're doing and you are involved with that passion and love, it's just an experience that you'll get and understand people better and understand football better because you're involved. How look on play, it looks scary, but when you're involved and you've got the spirit of it, you have it in you, then you can live the pressure. You can live with the pressure. You can live with the experience of. But then the experience is more important. You learn every day. You never stop learning in football.
Yeah.
Yeah. The past generations, we've learned something. You bring that experience to the new generation. It helps also because then you understand the backgrounds. You understand both backgrounds, where we come from and where these guys are coming from, the new ones now. And then you can create a balance. That's why experience is very key in the game of football. It's very key. If you check the leadership of the PSL as well, people might say people are getting old. The experience is very key. Where they come, they understand the foundation of the business. They understand the foundation where it comes from. So there's lots of respect and honor when they serve the business.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that discussion about as people who are experienced are getting older, they've been in the game. The two doctors, respectively, Dr. Koza and Dr. Motaung, have been in the game, lived and breathed this thing for so many years. But in other terms, if I can bring it to you to say, at your age, a succession plan of some sort, what are your views about that? Because surely, given the position that you are in, many can argue that you are part of a succession plan. So where now, what are you doing in your bit to make sure that all the experience that you have is filtering through? Because you're not gonna be around forever.
Yeah, I think what I've learned with the chairman that I've got, who's our father, was giving people an opportunity to grow and then spread the wings and not to hold on things. Sometimes some people want to hold on things because of the experience and everything. But when you share the wisdom, it becomes easier for you to think even about succession plan. Say I'm not there tomorrow, what's going to happen? If I'm not there tomorrow, if somebody's not there tomorrow, what's going to happen to the industry or the business that we're in? So I think having an open mind and sharing the wisdom makes it easier without ambition. You see, when you're ambitious to do things, sometimes you can mess up. You can start doing wrong things because you're ambitious to take over somebody's position. So succession plan is something that comes over a particular time. I think it's not something that I can say, I want to be a chairman of the league. I want to be it will happen when it's got to happen at the right time. But experience is very key to learn the current leadership, and to come behind and learn and absorb. And I grew up under leadership of Tabangata. We had leadership of Jabu Matlangu then. I used to learn, like I say, I started Liberty Gating. There were leaders in the club which were there before, and some of them passed away, some of them obviously left the industry. But I've learned a lot because I worked with generations and generations of people. I think succession plan comes with time. It's not something that you time will tell. We're not positioned but what you do is to serve. Put to lepilwa, serve and your strides. I think how it's like any other thing in life, business and whatever. There's no shortcuts. So leadership that is there, if you don't also have no it's problem.
You're gonna have big regrets,
big challenges. So I think I always say in my space now, there's so much involved. You need more power, you need more manpower, you need support. That's why we spread our wings to give others a chance to come in and share the load. Yeah, at my age now, I can't do what I used to do 30 years ago. I must empower others. I've got a team manager now. I've got, even the technical staff, you can see coaches, they go with 5-6 people.
Yeah.
Before coaching, a driver team.
He was doing everything.
It's everything. That's what I do. Ball is everything. So when I know there are people, coach, a manager, analyzer, a manager, analyst, coach, sports science, 60 minutes, fella. When mona dlala motho lo re motho o fresh I coach montsha do ba mleletse coach o ntsha motho.
Yeah.
And the coach takes a brand and it's a motho.
Yeah.
Wow, it's no winner because I feel so. So but it's how the football has changed. The game has changed. There's a lot involved. There are a lot of things that are involved from a technical point of view, sports science, IT, social media now also dominates. So
mara wena how you go
social media mfethu akere ke iphilela nna ke Bobby ke Bob Steak.
How you does you don't have a banner account that we don't know about?
No, I got to bua le batho ba ke sa ba tsebeng, ba ke sa ba boneng. Ke batla bua le wena ko bona je. You are social media bua le batho ba.
Are you sure you don't have a banner account?
That's why I cannot stress.
Okay.
That's why I cannot stress about it.
But you always know what's happening.
You
always know what's happening on the socials.
Because I get told by people who I'm living with.
Oh, okay.
Not Naki
Oh, I thought you had a banner.
Wrinkles. But I think it's more about the practicality. I'm old school because I know this guy to the guy. So when I know technology, if you want to 3 years, 5 years, more phone. Connect. Now we never had those things at all.
Yeah.
So I love connection, I love personal touch, I love connecting the battle. If you have grievances, like if there's a session, people like supporters complain about it. So when they talk, we listen. I listen, I give a hearing, then I've got to deal with the challenges that they're faced with. It's not easy because some things, especially in our industry, we don't own things. We can only collaborate. If I want a player or if I want to buy a player somewhere and the club refuses, it's not in my hands, and but supporters want that player. So we must put that satisfaction, but you can't. It's not possible sometimes because it's a give and take situation in the level.
You don't feel like this new wave of, social media, IT and, a bloated technical team, so to speak, it makes the job that you've done for so many years, redundant is the wrong word, but it takes away from it a little bit, because you speak about how coaches are informed about making a sub or whatever. Back in the day, it was very different. You look at how a team like Chiefs, for instance, had a PRO who was the voice of the club. To a point, because I also experienced that a little bit. I came into the industry in 2008, and when I wanted comment from the club,
PRO.
I'd call a PRO, I'd call the football manager. But now, no, like there's, I mean, in good and bad, there's red tape and whatever. But does it not take away from what you grew up doing and got to it?
I think when you have an open mind, if you have an open mind and accommodating change, because times have changed.
Yeah.
If you accommodate change, you adapt. You adapt and you don't have resistance. Once you resist, it will hurt you. Accepting change, it's a journey. It's a part of growth. And like I said, generations, there were new things coming in every time, you know. If I remember very well, we never used to have team managers. We created team manager position. I created it because of the demand at the time of a particular role to be played. So now technology is coming. There's a demand for certain things. So you must allow it. Social media, I'm not against it, but I'm not for it because I'm old school. But there are people who deal with social media, and there's a generation that deserves to deal with social media.
Of course, yeah. It's created roles and jobs, yeah.
And also you can't be, ignorant to the fact that it is there. And there's communication through social media. So only thing is what you need from social media that you can use. That's my experience. But you can't change the now generation, the now times. The times now are about social media. Whether you're Donald Trump or whoever, Donald Trump is always on social media. He himself posts. So I don't know if it's him personally but I think it's the times. It's modern times.
It is what it is, yeah.
So it's what it is. So you must adapt to the change. You must adapt to the times. And also, technology has moved a lot of things. And it has spread. Like I said, coaches also don't work alone. There's a lot of things that comes to even scouting now, you need players. There's a lot of processes now and people involved in technology of what the player is about and all those things. So you must adapt to the times. It's not like before where you just go and pick by looking with the eyes. Although that experience is still there, you can only add that to the system. The experience can only assist you to work with the system that is currently there. But there are people who study now for sports science. They go really, not doctors now, sports science.
Yeah.
They get qualified, and all they need is you use that experience, combine it with your experience, and then it works. You adapt to the times. But you don't have to close the door and say, you don't want this, you don't need this, you open the door.
I want to wrap up now with two things. One, given the conversation that we've just had now, how are you then cultivating your knowledge and experience into your children as well? Because you and your siblings are part of the big institution that is Kaizer Chiefs. We've seen your either your kids or your nephews and nieces as well, maybe being involved to some degree. But how are you? What decisions are you helping them make in terms of their future?
Look, when I was growing up, or since I was born, I was never given a directive of what to do or which line to go to. It's all about the passion. Even my siblings, we all came into this. We studied different things. We went to school for different things, but the passion and the love, opportunities just arose because of the passion for each one of us. What we wish to do. And one thing the chairman has done, or my father has done, is to give us an opportunity in life to express ourselves with whatever. He's never forced us to say, you become this, you become that. With my kids, it's the same. I've given them an open chapter to say, they went to school. My base was to give them school and education and support of upbringing. You know, when that love, that discipline, the moral values. You want to give moral values to your kids and upbringing, then that, for me, it's critical, it's value. Compared to if you direct your kids to be something that they don't want to. It's about the person. When you are born with a purpose, but find it. Once you find the purpose, then you can.
So you give them a base. If they want to become a YouTuber, it's okay.
It's about the passion. Yeah. It's about what they feel. And self-finding is very key. In life, you must self-find yourself and then you move on. And if you force somebody to be something that is not, or direct him to be something, it has that person. And that's why you find sometimes kids go, wayside because of pressure, peer pressure. I think it's more about self-finding. Find what's good for you. Find. So in terms of my kids, they've got their own path. They will decide. Like my son plays soccer, the last one. I've got 3 kids. The one plays soccer. The other one, I actually said to him, get involved in business than getting involved in the game, because of he was like me. He was not so much talented. He plays soccer, but the other one.
Well,
and one thing, I don't go when they play these games of soccer, because when I get there, there's pressure again.
Yeah.
So I want them to be free. The other one, Kista, but Udlalele basketball. But I went to a basketball match to watch him. I found him having passion. And he's got passion for soccer. He's got passion for basketball. But I loved him playing basketball, because the pressure that we have, I don't want my kids to be under pressure. They must enjoy life. They must express themselves. As long as they've got humility and respect and love for life, that's key for me. And they've got respect. That's key. Is very much. I was brought up with respect and humility and love. So those are values that we live for. The rest, obviously, people must work. You must earn your salary, your money, and deliver on the mandate.
Do you remember your first salary, by the way?
Yeah, well, funny. Hey, it's the first salary. That's why and finally, I never, till today, I've never fought for salary. There's never been
how tall is salary, Coach Chiefs?
At all.
It
was not about the money in the industry per se.
Yeah.
Because knowing the landscape and the passion that but it's about the love of the industry, getting involved in there. And then money will come. Money will come when you do the right things. And era
Turanta.
Maybe
10
allowance,
Okay, let me ask it this way. Your first pay slip here.
I no pay slip because
how should we pay slip? How you got nice life problems, my brother.
David already called. So I get the pay slip don't head. I got pay slip without head. Without head, because how much about banking you but pay slip once or something.
Yeah.
No, but I think it was not salary, yes, because you earn money, you work. It's about the passion, it's about what you do, then you'll earn.
Passion.
Passion.
Passion, yes, but passion. Passion
Yeah. But you see, industry when if it's like a player, how about a player? You can look well on it, can look well on your opinion. I want to go and have a as a player. Yeah. How about the game? Money will come.
Say yes, I'm keen to join the club.
This is the club I want to play for.
We can talk about the terms later. Yeah.
So the industry taught me that. So if you have salary, yes, we need money. I need to pay school fees. I need to pay maintenance. But is this sacrifice?
Yeah,
sacrifice because it's something that is something deep.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like you asked, do you get the flowers? If it's not spirit, it's not more right. You can't have. But if all right, if you know your space, if you've self-found,
the Bobby Motaung Foundation, is that part of an extension of yourself? What's that all about?
I think looking at the industry that I'm in and the influences that we have and associations and relationships, looking back in the days, like now, this foundation, I started it when I was turning 50. And the reason why I was supposed to celebrate my 50th birthday.
It was COVID.
Yeah, and then COVID hit. I had already done bookings and everything for celebrations because, it's a milestone 50.
Hey, mara next I told I invite you.
Yeah, because I got a...
Because
COVID didn't come much. I'm in July. Birthday gets in July.
Aye, but
so what happened?
I keep pull invitation.
No, we're not like at the right time.
Okay.
But it's a COVID. as a COVID. So what happened was I then had to look at other means of celebration. But it took me just a moment to reflect and think of what am I passionate about. So I started the foundation with a few friends, thinking, well, how do I celebrate my birthday? So we decided, guys, let's put some rands and cents together and buy food parcels and give to communities. That time, communities were struggling. I did it in Khabalatsani, 1,000 families. I remember I did in Middlelands, thousands of families, Woodikere gang and all that. That was my period of my birthday. But the spirit was that giving, of giving at 50 and sharing. I think that's why I started the foundation, to look back and say, what do I need to do to give back? So I don't have much to give back, but I can do it in collaboration with people to share the pain and experiences that, you go to the townships where I grew up. I go there every time. We go to even rural areas. We are getting, sometimes you find challenges. And how shall I let the economy and the challenges that the country is facing? It can only take a few heads to try and help here and there. It's not a one-man show to solve the problem. And it's not solving a problem. It's also sharing. It's giving back. But you must have a heart to give back. You must have love to give back. So foundation is more of trying to, at my age at 55 now again, looking back, I'm saying, what must I do for my birthday? Do I do a party?
Hey, you mentioned 55 a lot. It's like you're struggling to come to terms when you're 55.
I'm enjoying it. I'm waiting for next week, the day itself.
Okay.
But I think it's more about what do I do to celebrate my life from when I was 50 to now, and looking back and I say, what's my passion? My passion is people. So I'm not saying I've got a solution to help, but I'm saying I can share with my friends and experience or relationships that I've got to assist somewhere where we can see, where we can assist, like a giving back. But also something that takes the pressure off the negativity of life that is out there, that, even the pressures that we live under. Having something like this makes you focus on doing something positive and trying to do something positive, because life is tough. Now life is tough. Whether you have money or you don't have money, it's tough. People need something to smile about. People need something to be happy about. So it's about that time now for me to say, let's look at positive things. Positive things, bring few friends. Let's play golf. At that golf, we can discuss a few things and see what we can contribute back to society. Because golfers are people who are high level, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Who can share some one or two things in different industries and go back and do a CSI and give back. So I think it's something about passion. It's about the love for people, love for and caring.
No, it makes sense. It was insightful, Steak. I wish we had 2 hours to talk about the life and times. But as a parting shot, what are you looking most forward to about the upcoming? The dates are out provisionally from the first. Unfortunately, Makosi didn't make top 8. But what are you? So will look Betway Premiership High Start. What are you most looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to the Foundation Golf Day.
Yeah.
Foundation Golf Day. I want to thank my partners, my sponsors who came on board, who, when I, raised an issue, even those that contributed 2 rands, 1 rand.
Yeah.
The main sponsors are there. Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates contributed. We've got Kappa who contributed, my sponsors who contributed. I think Eye of Africa came on board to say, let's create this thing, let's do this thing. And for me, and the other companies that I've got a list of here, who have contributed to the cause, I think I want to thank them, because they hit the call. I mean, once we send out the message, everybody wanted to be there, but it shows the love that people have. But once you can tap into them, then you can see all of them have got love. That's why they've contributed to the foundation. And I think I'm looking forward to that day next week on the 10th, where we'll be having fun. Fun. No stress.
Yeah.
Fun.
No,
so at the bedway, I ain't like 1 August.
Oh, you're not worried about that?
No. But prepare. But about summer tonight. Back camping. So when they come back, then I should focus on golf day.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Your foundation is important.
Yeah, and now that you've said your thank yous to your partners and your sponsors, we have to. I was gonna say your message to the football lovers in general, but it's hard to separate you from being a Kosi man, So your message to the football lovers in general, but obviously especially to the
we're
Kosi
looking forward to
fans.
exciting times. I mean, seeing how the game has grown and it's challenging. There's those club World Cup now.
Yeah,
it shows how the game has changed. I know there's congestion of games and everything, but it's passion. Let's bring that passion. Let's bring
chalk
that
and
love.
cheese. Yeah,
Let's bring that love. Let's bring that passion. Game of football is about unity. It's about celebrating. So our mind must be positive when we come to the games. And then in the next season, we need positive energy. We need people must come and enjoy. Then we'll match the standards of what's happening in Europe and everywhere else in the world. It's about passion. This what Dr. Motsepe have created. They are in positions, high positions in Africa. With Dr. Koza, with Dr. Motaung, PSL, Bedway. I think it's all about caring about people and making sure that we serve. I mean, if you look at CAF now, how it's high level. When you play Champions League, when you play Confed, it's top level. The organizations and everything, it's high level. We want to be there to compete and be there. But all that job, what they're doing, PSL, CAF, it's about people. It's about for our people, for our supporters, and for our industry, for life in the country to give that positivity.
Yeah,
I'm not a politician to talk about politics, but football heals the pains of
course,
of all the challenges.
Happiness index. It
brings a happy index.
Yeah,
and obviously to the Kaizer Chiefs supporters, that spirit of love and peace must prevail. The one we saw in Durban, let Alua continue.
Well, I hope with that spirit of love and peace, you've enjoyed this podcast, The Life and Times of Bobby Motaung. I really wish we had more time, but hey.
There's still more to talk about. Akso it's because of at 55 kilos.
So re part 2.
Yeah, part 2 ke gabolile. Ke phetsele bo Brastand, ke phetsele batho, ke phetsele mathaima a nzima. Ke na ditori tse ngata nka bolela tsone. Go le generation e ntšha ya no. Ya no we. Phetsele bone ke na ditaba tse ngata.
Okay, we've got
ba rara gabola every day.
Okay, we've got part 2 locked in. You heard it from the man. We'll play this recording where we've got part 2 locked in.
Golf no. Golf no. That's on
that note then.
10th July, Bobby Motaung Foundation ya celebrate.
Okay, on that note, let's leave it there, Bob Steak. We've got part 2 locked in. You heard it from the man himself, Behind the Boot with Super Jenny.